Okay, I've got a lot of parts. This is the air cleaner, the screen, and the air cleaner cover. Over here is the fan, spark plugs, couple bolts, plug shield, I'm going to call it. Also, that could be called a air handler or air guide carburetor. This is a panel that was on the front of it. Also, this cover here, it rests on this panel and the bar that comes with it, this bar right here. These are for the keepers. They are for the belts. Also the pulleys, 2 pulleys. The muffler. This is the sump bottom cover on the engine. Here's the cam, lifters, also called tappets, the push rods, a couple of springs that go to the throttle, bolts for the pan, also known as the sump. Here's one of the heads and the gasket that came off. There's a couple of pins right down here. Those are dowels to locate the heads. This is another air guide, and also this bracket here is for the fuel pump. Another part of the air guide. Those bolts, I believe those are head bolts. So that's a lot of assembly and disassembly. Okay, I bought a gasket set for the engine. This is for the entire engine, I believe. And this is the part number. The first thing I'm going to do is put this head on, and you're going to need these dowel pins like that. Put these one in here and one up here. Now, whether you put them in one way or another, I don't think it's going to matter. This one here has a bigger chamfer at one end. I'm going to put that on the outside. Check the valve guides. Make sure the valve guides are not sticking out too far. The valve guides are right in here inside these springs. Make sure they're not sticking out too far. Look at them really close. Okay, these both appear to be normal. Blow this all out in here, right here, in this area and this area on this side. Blow out the bolt holes so that you don't have pieces of gasket material in the bolt holes. Now I've already got the gasket on here. Make sure you get the right side for this head. The intakes, right here, the intakes are in the middle. Right there. The exhaust is right here. And it should come out on this side here, where the sump is. The sump is up here, right in here. Now put your head studs back in. Now this one here in this middle area, right in this middle area between these two valve rocker arms, you're going to have to take your needle nose and put this bolt in. One rule that I always follow, I've been working on engines since I was 14 years old, and one rule I always follow, thread in your bolts with your fingers, by hand. Don't just take your impact, put your socket on there and start screwing on it. Now this one in here, you're going to have to use your needle nose to get in there. Make sure that all of them are started first. I noticed that this bolt right here is very close to this fan housing right here. That's okay, don't worry about it. These are 1/2 inch. Get your light in there so you can see what you're doing. Now these have to be torqued in a certain sequence. Basically, you're going to use an X pattern. In other words, start over here, then go over here. See how there's sort of an X there? Alright, now start over here on this one. Well, down here. Get them snug down, that's it. And then use your torque wrench. Now many guys use a clicker type torque wrench. Those are inaccurate. Why they invented those, I don't know, but they were trying to make it faster and easier, but they really messed it up. Get a beam, throw your clicker torque wrench away and get a beam torque wrench like this. This is an old school one, but you can buy them brand new. Now for Intek V-twin, you're going to torque these to 220 inch-pounds. On this particular torque wrench, it has inch-pounds and foot-pounds, both. So 220 inch-pounds is not very much at all on this scale. Now tighten them evenly and don't just go in a circle. You got to go in an X pattern. So you're going to just put your gasket on there. Make sure that everything is cleaned off. The intake side, right here, this goes up in this case. And the exhaust side is going to match this other exhaust, which is over here. So match the dowel pins. Make sure that your head looks like this. It's got to have all the gasket material off of it. Okay. These are your head bolts. Make sure you have 5 of them. There's one down in here. Very difficult to get. Right in here. Again, clean off this surface because you're going to put a gasket on it. Okay, now I'm going to put the lifters in. I'm going to be using gear lubricant. Now this one is gear lubricant right here. And so is this one. This is an older type. I'm holding this over the crankcase so that I don't get oil all over the place. If you find any dirt on it, try to clean it off first. Now, this cam is going to go in like this. So I'm going to lubricate this area. I'm going to lubricate the entire surface of these lobes. These are the lobes on your cam. And then I'm going to lubricate the top, this part, and the gear area. If you want to go buy assembly lube or use grease, you can do that. Now, something that's very essential here is there's a mark here on this cam. And it's right there. It's right there. Now you're going to have to find a corresponding mark on this gear right here. Right here. So turn your crankshaft until you get that mark lined up. And then line up the two marks. Okay, here you can see the two marks right here. Right there's one of them. Here's the other one. The other one on this gear right here is very small, but you have to line them up. And make sure, check it several different times to make sure you got them lined up. Okay, that should look good. Okay, now put a little gear oil on this part of the crank. And a little bit on this gear. Then put a little bit on this gear over here. This gear over here is your governor. Right there. Put a little gear oil on that. Okay. Now the reason why you use grease or gear oil is because it stays on there better than just plain oil. Now some guys will take the engine, run it for a while, and then drain all of the oil out and replace it with brand new oil. You can do that also. Okay, this is the sump, this whole assembly right here. And you're going to have to take this cover off. This is the inspection cover for the oil pump. Okay, that's pretty ugly, so I'm going to have to clean all that up. Here's the O-ring. This O-ring is very important. In this engine gasket set, there's the number at the top. In this engine gasket set, you're going to find another O-ring. I would suggest that you replace it. It's just an O-ring, and this one looks in good shape, but I'm going to make sure it's okay. Okay, I've got this brush on a grinder. Now you may have something like this, but you can put that on a grinder also. And I'm going to clean off this oil pump cover, because it's got rust right here and everywhere. Alright, now the gasket set that I have showed several times has bolts that you're going to use instead of the old ones. These are the old ones, and if you can see on the end of this one, it has the remainder of thread locker. This is how they looked from the factory. A little bit of thread locker on them. So I'm going to use these since they gave me brand new ones. Okay, now the first thing before you do that, the first thing we're going to have to do is take this old seal out. Now don't dig into the aluminum. Again, it's very soft. So just pry up easily on this seal. And then again, the gasket set gave me a new seal. Now this one came from Briggs & Stratton. I have heard that people did not like the off-brand seals that come, so this set of gaskets was expensive. So I got a brand new seal. Okay, that thing came out real easy. And you got to look at it before you take it out, because you got to put the new one in exactly like this one came out. And if you notice, there is a very deep groove all the way around this. That goes down in this case. That must go down. If you get it backwards, it's going to leak, possibly. But you have to put it in like this, with this solid surface on the outside. Again, I didn't dig into the aluminum when I was taking it out. I took it out very carefully. But look at it. I'm looking especially where my screwdriver was. Okay, it looks like it's okay. Make sure you clean out all the dirt. Then look it over. I don't want the dirt to go back into my pan, so I'm going to take it this way and blow everything out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now let's look at this closely. Right here is a lip. Right here. It's all the way around this opening. Wipe off your screwdriver. Alright, make sure you put the brand new seal. Let's wait for it to focus here. Wait, and put this brand new seal in like this. Now you're going to push it in just enough to get to the edge of this lip. Now you can use a socket for this operation, or you can just use a hammer. Make sure your hammer is all clean. Now when I took this out, the old one, it was recessed a little bit into the pan. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to go get a socket. I did not have any sockets the right size, so I did find a washer. Now hopefully you can find one of these. If not, just do your best to try to get it in there. But this washer fits on there perfect. And check your progress after you tap it in a little. Okay, that looks about right. Look at it from the other side to make sure. Keep checking it. All right. One of the reasons for this seal failing is because guys, men, women, whoever, fail to get it in there correctly. Because you cannot roll this seal over, otherwise it'll leak. Okay, look at your entire operation. Look at where it's going to go. Right here. Get all this old seal stuff out of there. Get your washer out of there. And move this to where you can see it. You might have to lube it up a little. Okay, one thing you're going to have to do, and I forgot about this, this lever, this is the governor lever. This governor lever is going to have to be like this. This has to be down. You got to have it down. And I'm going to put a little lube on it too, by the way. Don't worry about getting the lube all over the place, because you got to get this together right. Don't damage it by forcing it on there. Just take your time. Now this seal, as I said, it tends to roll over, and it's very important to get it correct. Use a small screwdriver like this to try to get it in there. Don't use your bolts to try to draw it together. There. Now if you look over here, exactly what I'm talking about. Right here, I've got it all rolled over.